welcome to another episode of the Noisy Neighbours podcast where we're talking about Rayan Cherki's deal to Manchester City being completed. We've got lots to get through, Christian. We're talking about the deal itself, the price, is he the De Bruyne successor, and also what does it look like for the rest of the team? It's coming up in a minute. Let's go, guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this evening's episode of the Noisy Neighbours podcast. We know we're talking about Rayan Cherki. We've just done a little intro, Christian. What are we thinking about this? Let's get straight into it. Are you okay?
It's the big one. Yeah, here we go. Mate, I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing. Look, we've spoken a lot about who the name was going to be. I wanted a big name. City fans wanted a big name. Look, you know, we know what this means with the Florian Wirtz deal going ahead with Liverpool, but I'm particularly happy, and I'm happy with the fee involved. I mean, €36 million, I'm reading, plus 6 million in add-ons. Easily achievable add-ons, I should add. So you're looking at just over 40 million in this deal. What would you say about that, Alex?
I mean, look, it's limited what we've seen. I know he had a very good night for France in the semi-final. I know he scored a really good goal, and we've seen the technical ability. You know, when we spoke last time, we spoke about the street ball side of it.
Yeah.
The price is almost so low, you almost feel like you're missing something. And that's...
Yeah.
It's like, you're looking at this and you're just thinking, right, well, why? It's like, you know, at the end of the day, you're buying these players. You know, we don't necessarily negotiate it, clearly, and we're not. I don't want to get ripped off as a fan. You look at your team, it can, like, you look at, say, a Grealish and your club, and obviously we've got a whole host of them. It can put you behind the eight ball if you overspend and give someone a ridiculous salary. With Cherki, it's almost so cheap. I'm like, are we missing something here? Like, what are we missing? I don't know, because, you know, obviously from reading up, you're looking at, like, okay, don't like to defend, but is that much of a red flag? You had the going on strike for the deal a year ago to go to Dortmund that fell through, and he was unhappy about that. What is it? Is he just? I don't know. Is he injuries? Is he not healthy? I don't know.
Or is it just one of them rare finds that the club has done really well with? I just want to make, before we go deep into the Cherki deal itself, I just want to give a shout out to Hugo Van Dijk. Like, what a start this is to the window. You know, I said on the pod when we were discussing about the potential of buying Florian Wirtz, and my club came out with the statement, and they said, you know, we're walking away because it doesn't make sense for us financially. And I called them on it, and look, you know, it's still, you know, I still could be correct in what I said, that I thought it was more of a PR stunt. However, when you look at what they've gone and done with coming in at just under €110 million, they've got midfielder of the season in Serie A, Tijani Reinders, who looks a great pickup for us, perfect Gundogan replacement, slots into our midfield seamlessly. Then we've got Ryan Cherki, for, I think, you know, just over the €30 million mark, about €37 million, maybe a few add-ons. I mean, you look at that deal in itself. Patrick Dorgu went for €30 million with 5 million add-ons. You know, and that was a risky signing. No one knew what level he's going to come in at. He's looking at him play. It's going to take a while for him to settle in. You're buying, they don't look really like risky signings, and we've paid very low fees for them. Cherki's a bit of a different entity because, yeah, like you said, Alex, he's a street baller, man. He's a bit of a throwback. We named a player called Adel Taarabt, and what a player he was, by the way. But you know what you get with them boys. Like, one week they can look like the best player that's ever graced this planet, and then next week they're a bit sketchy. And I do think we've got to be patient with Cherki because he does hit me as that kind of footballer. But I think for the fee that's been, well, not even rumour, for the fee that's been confirmed by Fabrizio, I think this deal makes sense. And yeah, I think for 110 million and you've got them three players in and Liverpool looking like spending that on Florian Wirtz. And no disrespect, by the way, no shade on Wirtz. I think Wirtz is an exceptional player. Liverpool are getting one hell of a signing. I'm just saying for where my club is currently and the rebuild that we needed, I genuinely believe that the deal we have done getting them three in for that amount of money was better suited than a Florian Wirtz Galactico signing at this time for City. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, there's two ways of looking at it, and I think you're coming at it from a positive spin, which I think is right as a fan. Now, here comes the potential risks with this, right? I don't know if City are
Yeah.
going to go and get another number 10. If Cherki is the number 10, he is the successor to De Bruyne by definition, right? Now, okay, let's think about this. He is coming from the French league straight away. That is one of the weakest. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Cherki, if you look at him, he's technically fantastic. Where he probably lacks is physicality and maybe fitness as well, maybe a bit of stamina with the lack of work rate. Is he the successor to De Bruyne? And for you to have a really good season, how much pressure is on Cherki's shoulders? You mentioned about giving him time to settle in. Or is there another deal going to be done? Like, what do you think? Or is he the successor?
Yeah, no, I know where you're coming from with it, and it's a fair point. What I will say is there was no like-for-like replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, and I think the route City have gone down is more, we need players in more positions that can overall contribute more to the team going forward offensively, and I think that's what they've done with these certain deals. And yeah, maybe we're not going to score in the way we did when we had Kevin De Bruyne, but I don't think we would have been able to do that if we'd have gone and splashed the cash on Florian Wirtz. We would have still had to adjust. Florian Wirtz is a more established player, but yeah, I think City are going in a bit of a different direction. There is a lot of pressure on him. However, I don't think he's been bought as a like-for-like Kevin De Bruyne replacement. Because he's such a versatile player, he can go left, he can go right. I mean, we've seen in that little cameo the other day for France, we know what he's capable of. And I think he'll spend some time out on the right wing. Luckily, we've got Phil Foden. And I think this means that possibly them two can rotate. It frees Foden up a bit. I don't think he's going to be concretely put as a right winger. And I don't think Cherki is going to be concretely put as our centre attacking mid. We know Pep likes to chop and change. And we know both of them players are versatile. I do think with Cherki, he's going to get the initial nod at the 10, is what I would say. But yeah, I see it more as a Bernardo replacement rather than a De Bruyne, just because of the versatility of the player. We saw Bernardo could play central.
Yeah.
We saw Bernardo could go out wide. And I think that's what you're going to get with him. But listen, mate, we've got to remember his age. He's a young lad. He's coming in. It's a bit of a mad transfer, because usually a player with his numbers, you would have to pay probably near to the €100 million mark. And that's what we just come accustomed to. Now we're seeing a really low fee, so in that element, the risk isn't bad at all. Obviously, City want to get back to challenging for titles, so of course that is where the risk element comes in, because it's like, well, do you go with a more established player such as a Florian Wirtz? But I just think, look, these signings alone aren't enough to take us back to a title. That is what I would say. If we go and sign a top-class winger, someone in them offensive positions that can really help, then I believe that elevates us. But I certainly think Cherki goes, it goes a long way. It takes us forward quite a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And if you look at the deal in a vacuum, it is a good deal in theory. Obviously, we've not seen him in the Prem. We're not seeing loads of the guy either. But you look at it, like you said, you make a good point that the statistics don't seem to line through with the fee. Now, so in theory, the deal is good. You look at the value for money deal. The problem comes is when, how much better is he going to make you from last season, and how much closer can you get to Liverpool to challenge for the league? Now, he might be able to make some strides for you and enhance your attack. And I do think that, to your point, I don't think he's going to play point of a midfield 10 and have this free role, just because I think there's going to be some sort of, I think that he's going to have to get up to speed with the team, and that would be a big position to bang him in there. By all accounts, he's not the biggest grafter. To put him as part of that three, you'd have Reinders and Rodri behind him. I think that would be quite a risk, where De Bruyne sort of balanced the attack and the midfield probably better than, say, Cherki will be able to from the get-go. So the right-hand side feels like a bit of a more of an... And obviously Savinho and Foden aren't really cutting it. So
Yeah.
It feels like there's minutes for him out on the right, and it could settle him in a bit. His crossing is really good, which Haaland needs crosses. He had none last year. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Alex, that's huge. I mean, I just wanted to touch on this as well. An area we struggled in notoriously last season. And not only that, scoring goals was a problem last season, especially towards the latter end. I think teams had really worked out. If we low block against these, they are pretty clueless. I mean, look at Southampton, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And then we saw it again in the final a week or two later.
A low block puts pressure on your delivery because ultimately you are reduced to that and your long shooting, which De Bruyne had both. Obviously, you lost that massively last season, and Cherki gives you both in theory. I think there's going to be things around the physicality. I'm guessing there's going to be stuff with his fitness and his work rate. I do think this is where Guardiola has to come in, really. But this is the thing. If this is it, I mean, look, I think there's pressure on him. But like you said, Foden should be able to shoulder some of that as well.
Do you know what? Yeah, no, I agree, Alex. Do you know what I would say with Cherki, though? He gives me them old school vibes of like, you actually mentioned this in the FA Cup game. So we were playing, and it was the last couple of minutes, and you were like, De Bruyne is the only one willing to try something out of the ordinary in this squad. Yeah. Now, I couldn't agree with you more, Alex. And the players in them final minutes, you had Doku, who was just, he didn't really want the ball. He didn't want to be the guy that had fuck up the last attack, which ironically he did end up doing. But we saw it. He cuts in on his right, hesitates, doesn't want to shoot, gives it to someone else. Then he randomly shoots on his left. He just gets fucking muddled up. And Cherki, I don't see this in him. I see Cherki with that. I like that little bit of an attitude. Don't get me wrong, right, there's a balance, yeah? You've got to get it just right, because you get an attitude where it's, it can become toxic within the squad, and it can upset the apple cart. I do like that bit of an attitude where it's like, give me the fucking ball, I'll drag us over the line if we need to get there. And I do like that, and I see it with Cherki a little bit. He comes on, France are getting absolutely pumped, and he's like, give me the ball, I want the ball. I will fucking tee myself up for a volley on the edge of the box, and risk it going high and wide. He's not arsed. And I do sort of like that. So, listen, I don't think many City fans can not be... I don't think we can be criticised for being excited about this lad, because from what we've seen, he's everything you love to watch in football. You are going to have them frustrating games with him, especially looking at his age. He's no sort of polished, finished article here. You are getting a raw footballing talent who will sometimes frustrate the life out of you, but it's what Pep can do with him. We've seen what Pepper's made, like, Raheem Sterling, for instance, what he got out of that guy. What can he do with someone who's got the fundamentals Cherki has got? And that's where I'm excited.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've not really had any major reports on why the fee is overly low, other than just sort of little snippets here and there from French journalists, and you've got the work rate, don't like defending, and all this other stuff. Yeah. But what are we expecting here? Because we saw somebody like Tanguy Ndombele, who had a similar reputation, went for 60 million. Now, obviously, obviously, you're hoping he doesn't have the attitude of Ndombele, because Ndombele was one of the most talented players I've seen in a long time, and he was he couldn't even be arsed running. I've seen Cherki twice this season. He's definitely not to that level. I don't know what was going on with Ndombele, but this is the thing of the fee is half of what Tottenham paid, double the fee for Ndombele. Yeah. So what is it with this guy? I mean, honestly, I can't wait to see him, because I honestly don't even know what to expect. Or if you're going off the fee alone, you wouldn't even be able to get Ward-Prowse for that.
Yeah, Alex, we've seen it a few times. Hussamoa, it was another one. They've produced these players where that was Leon as well, and Arsenal were linked with Aouar for a long time, and I think we were a little bit. And he looked like one of the most talented players in the world, and then he's just completely gone off the boil. They had another one, Nabil Fekir. Weirdly, they just don't seem to come from Leon. Listen, I don't know whether that plays a big part. It's going from them leagues are always risky, but what I would add, Alex, is I would rather, and I know some Liverpool fans might not like this, but I would rather go with a 30 mil risky signing from the French league, who notoriously churn out a few catfishes, rather than going spending 150 in the Bundesliga, who notoriously send us some catfishes. And that's where it's a bit like the risk element in terms of where we could finish next year if this guy flops. Yes, of course, that's there. But City have obviously saved that much money. They could reinvest. Are they going to go and sign someone else? From what I'm seeing, City are going to I don't think City's business is done. I think it's far from concluded. It's just in what positions, which will be interesting to see. The Gibbs White links have gone a bit quiet, so I don't know whether, Fabrizio's been reporting that the 10 was either Gibbs White or it was Cherki. Cherki's a City player as far as we know now, so that would suggest we're not going to go and get him, but because of the money saved, does City go and roll on another? Potentially, I don't know. I guess that remains to be seen. I think it's important we do, in all seriousness. Just one thing, Alex, on the stats. I just wanted to say this. We struggled for goals last season. Now, bringing in these two boys, these new boys, we've got obviously Marmush, who came in midway through the season, and we've just brought in Cherki. I'm not saying they're going to start as a front three, but they're going to be in some sort of triangle. Him, Haaland. So you are looking at 123 goal contributions from them three. And I do think that is important. Look, yes, a lot of them goal contributions from Marmush did come from, we can't hide the fact he played half the year in the Bundesliga. And we don't know the way they're going to line up. They're all exciting players. But I've got to be honest, there's huge question marks on the fit of these three players and the formation that we need to get the best out of them.
Well, I forgot about Marmush because I'm just this is interesting because I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking, unless Cherki can play 10, or you bench him, if Cherki plays and he is not playing the 10, then Cherki's on the right, Marmush plays the 10, I think.
Well, Marmush is a strange one. I mean, people are listening to other City channels. They're like nailing Marmush down for the left-hand side next year. But I personally... Look, I'm not saying he won't play that. Potentially he could. But all I'm going to say is, when I've watched him this year, his best work has not come off the wing. He's not that play. He's not like that, the normal cutting on the right and bang one. That's not... His best work has come on the shoulder of the defender and working in them tight spaces and getting in the box, fox in the box type of shit. So, this is where
it's interesting.
It's interesting where it's going to head.
We were speaking about De Bruyne and the replacement. If Marmush cannot play on the wing, which in my opinion I don't see it personally, then that means Marmush would become the De Bruyne replacement by definition. I mean, that is a completely different outfit for City. That is like... I know you've seen it a little bit this season, but obviously, because you've had De Bruyne still there, even if Marmush plays 10 and De Bruyne on the right, they naturally fall into their roles, don't they? De Bruyne will still end up in that pocket and he'll still be playing those passes. If he's not there, and say Cherki or Savinho's on the right, they don't play anything like De Bruyne. Nobody does, like you said. So if Marmush can go 10, what does that look like? It's mad. I mean, I don't know how City are going to line up at all.
Yeah, mate, I really don't. I'm a City fan, and I just hope Pep does, to be fair, but I don't know whether he does.
I actually think Marmush is the most awkward fit, and I'm not saying that.
I agree with that, and I think this is the thing. I like Marmush as a player, and he's an exciting player in his own right. I just wonder, did the signing ever make sense? It just seemed a bit of a random one. Because currently, as you're looking at it, there is no obvious position for that guy. He's going to have to nail down a position that we currently have not seen him flourish in. That's a concern, because we're paying the guy a lot of money. And he was a marquee signing. So it's a bit of a strange one when you sign a player and you're like, I don't really know where he's going to play. Because Haaland has the number 9 position down. That is done. He signed a 10-year deal. You are not getting to be the Manchester City striker. Presumably conversations happen with Marmush as to where he's going to play. All I would say is that this year it was difficult for Marmush because the players around him, even if he was to play that 10 role, we had no one else creating. Whereas potentially next season, it looks like we're going to have Reinders, who is a powerful midfielder. He's going to drag players out of position with his big runs forward. He's going to be a huge part of this City team, the new engine probably. And then you've obviously got Cherki now, who we know has got a delivery on him. We know he's tricky. We know he's going to bring other players out of the game and create space. So, of course, this all leads to helping Marmush if Marmush does become the 10. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see, Alex, and wait for some sort of clarification. But knowing in true Pep style, it'll just be chaos, and we'll see Marmush 10 for 10 minutes, Cherki 10 for another 10. Reinders might have a go up there. So it's a bit of a mad one.
Is the problem, isn't it, with your number 10, whoever it's going to be, it throws the balance off because they aren't a midfielder, really. If it's
Yeah.
Marmush, if it's even Foden, if it's Cherki, Christ, you are losing defensive stability with that. All the Reinders will bring you something, but then you don't know what you're getting with Rodri. There's so many things in this team where it's like, I honestly just don't even know. I don't even know what it's going to look like. I don't even know what Pep's going to play. Is he going to change the system completely and play Marmush up front with Haaland with I don't know, a 3-5-2 or something? I mean, maybe
Christmas tree formation.
Yeah, 3-4-3. Get on it. No, but I think, how much pressure do you think, looking at obviously Liverpool signing Virts, you signing Cherki? I mean, are you thinking that, like, if we can sort of get Liverpool to feel it, those deals will potentially haunt them a little bit more than you? Or do you not see it being enough to really challenge them based on what you might have at the minute?
If I'm being totally honest, like I said at the start, I think currently we have made huge improvements. And I think we've got enough to push them, as in title race. I don't think we've got enough to take it off them unless I see a significant drop-off from one of Van Dijk or Salah, obviously, particularly.
Yeah.
I think there's one signing missing. You know, we saw last year, Alex, we have Doku and Savinho. They're not good enough. They are not good enough currently. Whether they're ever going to be good enough is a different question. We've got into that a few times. We won't hit on it today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think one more is needed. I look at the boy at Real Madrid, Rodrigo, and there's just a weird situation there because I don't know why they would be looking to sell, but there must be some truth to it because I'm hearing a lot of rumours now. Arsenal, I think, want him. But if he's available, City have to move on that. There is no doubt about it. We have to move on it. And yeah, I know people could say, yeah, but you've got Foden, then where does Foden go? But look at the years when we were at our best. We had Riyad Mahrez on the bench rotating. We had Sane. We had these players, and they had to take a rotation role. That is what made us the powerhouse we were. Who cares about this bullshit where it's like, no, they need to play 50 games a year. No, they fucking don't. Not if they want to win every single fucking trophy.
No, yeah, I mean, don't forget, looking at Liverpool, like, yeah, I mean, City seem to end up with these in probably more frequently, where you have 6 or 7 forwards. But I look at Liverpool this year. Okay, Salah was the guy who led them to the title, but you also look at those other positions, and they were all pretty good. Like, I'm not saying any of them were 8 out of 10, but like Diaz 7 out of 10 season. Gakpo had really good moments. Gakpo, even Nunes came off the bench and got him a couple of wins. Didn't he get two late goals at Brentford or something? Jota, like, you look at Liverpool and Chiesa couldn't even get a kick. Like, he was pointless. So they had like 6 forwards. And obviously Salah was one of them. So you've got 5 players that go into 2 positions.
Yeah.
And you're like, and obviously they've gone and got Virts, who apparently is maybe looking at this left-hand side role for Diaz, which then allows Szoboszlai to continue. And I don't know if they're going to sign a striker or not, or Jota up front. So clearly that's a different setup to Liverpool, because I do think Diaz offers he does stretch the pitch for Liverpool, but Virts is technically really good. So there's question marks over both sides. I don't know really where I lean. I think I'm going to sit on the fence for a bit longer on this, maybe till like August when we make our predictions. And obviously they're not done yet. I mean, look, if Liverpool went and signed a number 9, that would put them even higher up. You know what I'm saying? And City a winger. City need a winger.
You are right, Alex. There is so many question marks. Look, Rodri's coming back. Yes, he is the Ballon d'Or winner. We know how good he was, but we don't know how good he is. That injury is a really nasty one, especially for the age he is. You know, he's in his prime. It can sometimes finish a player, and we've seen it a lot of times. So, look, we need to see what condition Rodri comes back in. Liverpool have also got a lot of question marks. Yes, Salah is insane. We know what that guy is. Me and you have done videos on him and said we've given him his flowers on the numbers he's put up. It's been phenomenal. We've never seen anything like it in the Prem. However, he is getting older, and you know, nothing goes on forever. So even a small drop off from Salah, Liverpool feel it. And then you've got Virts, and you're telling me I've not even heard that. To be fair, is that being widely reported that they're seeing him as a left winger?
Well, I mean, obviously, I've not spoken to Arne Slot, and I guess the people who are tweeting this haven't. But I'm just he played there for Germany, didn't he? So I think that whipped up a little bit of a storm where Musiala seems to play central more than Virts, but they do rotate. I don't think he's like a left winger. But I also read one of our Liverpool friends in the comments mentioned that slot at Feyenoord like to have more midfielders than wingers, so it leans more into potentially his style of play. Although it looked pretty good this year. I mean, they got like 85 points and took the foot off the gas for the last month. But I think it's look. I'm really intrigued. If anybody's watching this, to hit us up. If there's any City fans, tell us what you think of Cherki. Are you content with this losing out to Wirtz? Are you willing to see what it looks like? Liverpool fans, do you feel under pressure that you're paid it 100 million more for a guy who plays maybe a similar position coming from an also risky league in the Bundesliga? It's interesting to see both takes. Or are they both going to be really good and then the Prem benefits and both teams can go at it again? Who knows? I think it's going to be really interesting, Christian. We're going to continue to look at City's team and starting 11 as we move through the summer. You are in the Club World Cup, might get a sneak peek of maybe if it is a changing system, that would be a great time to launch it. And that might form the start of the season in August. So much to look at. I mean, it's very interesting to see where this is going. Christian, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks,
really
bro.
enjoyed going through that. Big signing for City for a very small fee. Let us know what you think, guys, in the comments. Appreciate you all for listening. Catch us on the next one.